this evening. If we could stand for the Pledge of Allegiance, please. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. So I call the annual meeting to order. I would like to introduce Kristen Wilcox, Reedfield Town Clerk, who will assist me in the election of the moderator. I will now entertain a motion to nominate a moderator to present at the meeting. So we are starting officially Article 1 to choose a moderator to preside at said meeting. I would entertain that nomination.
I move to nominate Ava Dixon as moderator to preside at the meeting.
Second.
Aga Dixon.
And what are the results? So I'd like to invite Aga Dixon up, who will be the moderator of the meeting. Bear with us for just a moment. We have to do an oath. So again, just bear with me. So do you, Aga Dixon, swear that you will support the Constitution of the United States and of the state of Maine, as long as you shall continue to be a citizen thereof, and that you will faithfully discharge to the best of your abilities the duties incumbent on you as the moderator of RSU number 38 budget meeting on May 14th, 2025, according to the Constitution and the laws of the state of Maine?
I do. Are you a resident of it?
Yes.
Hi, everybody. Thanks for having me. Thank you for coming out tonight. I appreciate it. It's a beautiful sunny day out there. I'm sure you're all anxious to be outside instead of inside. So we'll try to make this as efficient as possible, but that is entirely up to you. My name is Aga Dixon. We're going to get started with a couple of housekeeping items and then get to business. So I'd like to begin by asking any non-voters to identify themselves. Okay, great. You are isolated on an island over there. Do not raise your hands from here on, okay? All right. Voters, you should now all be checked in with your ballot clerks. And we're going to do all of this by hand vote, as I think is the tradition in the district. So normally at this time I would swear in the ballot clerks, but we've already dispensed with that. So unless there are any objections, we can move on. And just in terms of the rules of procedure, the order of business is really to establish the rules of procedure. And I will typically be guided by the rules of the Maine Moderator's Manual, as well as applicable provisions of Maine school law, with a couple of modifications, as we do every year. So by law, to keep the meeting moving, if I need to, I will limit debate to 2 minutes. But the most important thing is we're not going to do amendments to amendments. What this means is that you're free to propose an amendment after a motion is made on an article, but I'll not allow anyone to speak after that or make another amendment until we have dispensed with the first amendment. Otherwise, things just get very confusing. So each amendment will be acted upon, and then any other amendments offered up will be taken in turn. Finally, by law, Articles 13 and 17 will be by recorded vote. I'll ask you to just keep your hand up, and I'll count your hands. And Article 16 will be by written ballot, and I'll guide you through that process when we get there. Any questions about the rules of the meeting? Okay, moving on. Just the basics. If you would like to speak, get yourself up to the microphone for debate and questions. That doesn't apply to motions and seconds. You can call those out from your seat. Once I recognize you, please just state your name and your town and what you are proposing to do. So for example, if you want to amend an article, please start out by saying, I wish to amend an article as follows. Or if you want to speak in favor or in opposition to a motion, just let me know that. And then if you are moving to amend an article, you'll have to wait for a second, and then I'll let you speak. All motions have to be relevant to the motion on the floor. If you have questions, please pose them to me, and I will direct them to the superintendent or anybody else who on the board who may be able to answer. But do remember, this is not a trial, no depositions, no cross-examinations. You're more than welcome to ask questions, but no cross-examinations. Also remember that this is not a school board meeting. It's a meeting of the voters, so the rules for speaking at school board meetings don't apply here. If we need to, if we have a debate, we can alternate between those for and against if we need to. And if the debate is lengthy, I might impose some restrictions on how long an individual gets to speak. Now, sometimes, as you know, debate can go on for quite a while, and people may wonder why I'm not stepping in. And that's really simple, because it's not my meeting, it's your meeting. So if you want to end debate, you have to do it. I cannot stop debate. If you feel like the debate is dragging on, and you've heard enough, then what you want to say is, I move the previous question, and then the meeting will take a vote. If we get 2/3 vote, I can then cut off debate and we can move to voting. Make sense? Okay, and so we're going to take up each article in the warrant in turn. I will read the article and request a motion in a second. I believe the practice is for a school board member to kind of explain the article in layman's terms, and then we will go to debate and discussion. After discussion, you're going to vote on the motion, and if there's an amendment, as I explained, we'll take that up in turn. You will just say aye or nay and raise your hand, and then I'll announce the outcome of the vote. Any questions on the process? Yes?
Can a voter position an amendment or motion for an amendment that raises the line item?
Yes, you may. Yeah, you can amend up an article. Keep in mind, though, that if you increase one article in a cost center, that will have consequences to some of the other articles. We'll try to guide you through that if that's the will of the voters. Also keep in mind that the school board is the ultimate decider on how funds are expended, so they have the authority to decide, if you amend an article up, they get to decide how that money is ultimately spent. All right, so I'm just going to give you a really quick overview of the business articles of the meeting. So please take a look at your copy of the warrant, which includes all of the articles. So the total budget is Article 17. That's the school budget summary article, and that includes all non-tax dollars to support the school district's operating budget. You'll see that we have 11 expenditure articles, so numbered Articles 2 through 12, and that's the expenditure side of the budget. If you add up Articles 2 through 12, if everyone did their math correctly, they should add up to Article 17, okay? Article 13 through 16 are the revenue side of the budget, and they each raise some of the local tax dollars for the proposed budget. So Article 13 is the one that includes state matching funds. That's called the additional local article. 14 is your debt service article, 15 is food service, and then 16 is for the balance of local dollars to fund the budget. Now, just a word of warning, if you try to add up the expenditure articles and compare that to the sum of the revenue articles, they're not likely to match. And that's because this meeting doesn't actually have to vote on every expenditure of the RSU. We have miscellaneous revenues that are not shown on the warrant. So that's why those two columns don't add up. And finally, we have some miscellaneous articles for matters that are in addition to the school operating budget. So with that overview, are we ready? Okay, let's get started. Do I have a motion on Article 2? Oh, hold on a second, let me read the article, that might help. Article 2, to see what sum the RSU will be authorized to expend for regular instruction, including alternative education, English language learners instruction, and gifted and talented education. The school board recommends $9,636,542. Do I have a motion?
I move to adopt Article 2 as recommended.
Second.
This article includes negotiated salaries and benefits for regular education, instructional staff, supplies, professional development, contracted services, and copy and maintenance costs.
Okay, Article 2 is on the floor for discussion. Any discussion? Yes.
Good evening. I'm David Twitchell from Wayne. Regarding this article, I have some discussion. Concern was brought to me about what the board had voted for, which was to keep the budget partially under control through attrition. And that caused, in effect, Wayne to end up with one less interventionist. And there's been understandable concern about that. And this is the article, as I understand it, that would fund or isn't funding that particular situation. And as a board representative, as I understand the state law, I am responsible to the students in this district, in every part of the district, including Wayne. And I care about the constituents, but once I was elected, I'm responsible for the students. And the concerns that were raised are about how this might directly affect the value of the education that the students are receiving, in this case in Wayne, but it would apply to any. And each of the other schools has had attrition adjustments also. So although I'm addressing Wayne, this is in a way a concern across the district. And I have been looking at it and reviewing it for a couple of months now and have continued pursuing it, and am grateful to every person that has spoken to me at one point and another about this, because the students are our focus and a very important one. What I have come through my evaluation to see is that we're losing an interventionist, and that does affect the amount of interventionist coverage in the school, but it does not have to change the quality of the care that each student is getting. That, as I expected when I heard about our idea across the district of using attrition to help keep budget under control, I expected the administration and the whole team to be finding how we can use that to keep things under control without harming the children's education. And what has been brought into this district over the last years and is continuing to be refined and brought to play even more is addressing all the students and their individual needs on a very careful evaluation basis. Part of that is called the MTSS system. And so that if a student is having a need, the principal, the teachers, and higher in the administration if needed, are looking at what that student's needs are, how can we meet it, and how are we continuing to expand the training for the interventionists and the teachers and the whole staff to meet those needs well. And in evaluating things, I feel that that will happen in Wayne in this particular case, even though we are losing one interventionist. There are a lot of facts and figures that say how important it is to keep the care of these students and not to let it slip. And I believe that at every level, that is still considered very important, and that intervention, maybe not with an interventionist, although we still have one in the school, but intervention assistance for those students will continue, and as needs change, the intervention or the assistance will change. And so I am saying this as it was put to me, leveraging all the systems and structures that the school has, that the district has to meet the needs of each student. So we're not forgetting that this is something that needs to be watched, and the district can and will, if it came to it, put in an interventionist, another interventionist, but we think that we can continue that care of each student without having this one interventionist, but keeping the other one. And Tom, who's also from Wayne, will add anything as he feels is necessary, because we've been working on this together. But I wanted to reassure people that we're not giving up on the need of all the students to be watched out for. And both as board members and as teachers and as principals and the administration top to bottom, we will continue watching that. Even though this looks like it might hurt, I feel in looking over the details with the administration and hearing from everybody that we will be able to continue it with the budget as being presented.
Thank you. Any further discussion on Article 2? Yes, please come up to the microphone and introduce yourself.
Hi, my name's Emily Watson. I'm a parent of 2 kids in Wayne Elementary School. David, thank you so much for sharing your thoughts. I know that I sent some correspondence out to all of you on the board yesterday with some review of that. And just in summary, the opposing viewpoint to that, and I do appreciate your consideration. When we looked over the data, first of all, it was a little surprising and unfortunate that when the decision was made that we would move an interventionist into the 5th grade teacher position, that there was no kind of data and benchmarks looked at by the board to see if that was actually going to be a decision that served our students. And if, recognizing that that decision isn't made by the board, I understand that. But once it was clear that that was going to be the solution, I think it makes sense to look at that data and really say, like, okay, well, how are we still going to be able to meet the needs of these students with this decision? Or do we need to go back to what I and many of the parents in the community think of as the bare minimum staffing, which is 1 teacher per grade and 2 interventionists. For a little bit of background information, for those that don't know, those behind me, 50% of our students at Wayne Elementary School receive intervention services from at least one interventionist. And to go further back, in 2019 and 2023, Wayne Elementary School was deemed Tier 3 status, which is a designation by the state based on achievement levels and attendance levels. And that's the one that requires the highest level of support. So since those times, Wayne Elementary School has been working incredibly hard to restructure, reframe, really bring those numbers up and bring our kids up to where they should be, both in terms of attendance and achievement. And I know that I sent you some data that Wayne Elementary School was kind enough to prepare for me. I don't have access to this data, of course, so that was all brought by them. And it floored me because I knew that it would be good, but it was shocking to see how much work they have done over the last 2 years. So in summary, hang on, let me just look because I wrote this down. I knew I wouldn't remember. And I don't want to go too much into statistics, but just so that everyone is really aware, in the last 3 years, our NUIA literacy achievement has gone up by 13 percentage points. Math percentage points has gone up by 19. As far as growth, so how much these kids have improved, our literacy growth has gone up by 17 percentage points. And our math growth has gone up by 17 percentage points. So that in and of itself is unbelievable. And absolutely thank you to the hard work of every teacher and especially the interventionists at our school who are able to spend this tailored time with our kids. One interventionist is not going to be able to carry the weight of the full load of what we're able to meet right now at Wayne Elementary School. Every child under the 30th percentile qualifies for services. And if we cut down to 1 interventionist, David, you're absolutely right, we will be able to maintain the quality of the services provided, but we will not be able to provide those quality services to all the children who deserve it. So there will become a bubble of children who qualify for services and do not receive it because there simply will not be enough intervention to go around. We are not alone in this. I absolutely recognize that this is a district-wide problem, this is a statewide problem, this is a nationwide problem. We all want what's best for our kids. But when we look at our district, Wayne Elementary School is one of 2 schools in the district that qualifies as Tier 3. And so when we're looking at cutting these massively important positions, and if we can't add in a position to every school, let's prioritize those that are on the hardest journey to pull their kids back up to state achievement levels. That's my personal opinion. I really think, and based on the data that Wayne is pumping out, it's not like these are all for naught interventions. They're doing the good work. We are getting our kids there. They're engaged, they're focused, our numbers are going up. And if we pull back now, then we will lose some of that trajectory. Yes, the quality will be maintained. I have every faith in every staff member at that school and every faith in every single one of our kids. But we just won't be able to achieve the same numbers. And when the state is looking at these schools and designated who is on this Tier 3 list, you need improvement over a 2-year time span. This is my understanding. And we have met the benchmarks over 1 year. We need 1 additional year to prove that this is not a fluke. This is due to the excellent work of this staff. If we are able to maintain these services and increase and continue to improve these numbers for another year, we will be able to get Wayne Elementary School off of the Tier 3 list. And that is unheard of and an incredible accomplishment. And it truly almost brings me to tears thinking about the effort that our staff has put into these kids. So That is why I would argue very, very strongly that 2 interventionists at this school at this time is the right decision to make. It was stated by the board that the estimate for that with salary and benefits is a $90,000 cost. And so when I submitted my email increasing the total budget of $90,000 in the grand scheme of things, does not seem like a big ask when we're talking about these data points that we've been able to achieve. So I apologize. I don't know the formal process for asking for that amendment, but that is what I would ask, is to reinstate $90,000 into this article in order to cover the salary and benefits of the 5th grade teacher position at Wayne Elementary School.
So just to clarify the process, if you wish to ask for an amendment to this line item, to this cost center, you would just move to amend upwards Article 2 by $90,000. We'll see if there's a second. We will take up that amendment. If it passes, we'll guide you through the rest of the process when the time comes.
Okay. So I move to make an amendment to increase Article 2.
I'm sorry.
Oh.
We are, just to be clear, we're also still debating the original amendment, which, and so if you want to make an amendment, what's going to happen is if we get a second, we will debate the amendment. We will vote on the amendment and then go back to debate on the original article as amended or not, depending on the outcome of the vote. Make sense? Okay, go ahead.
Thank you. I move to amend Article 2 to increase by $90,000.
Is there a second, I think? Seconded. So we have an amendment on the floor, Article 2, a motion to amend it upwards by $90,000. That article amendment is now up for debate. Would anybody care to discuss the amendment? Okay, seeing no further debate on the amendment, we are going to take up the vote on the amendment. All in favor of the amendment to increase Article 2 by $90,000, say aye and raise your hand. Okay, hold on. Okay. All those opposed, say nay and raise your hands.
Nay.
Okay, so the amendment to Article 2 fails, so now we are back at the original article. So we have a motion and a second. We're going to take up the original article. We're going to finish up discussion and debate. Is there anybody who would like to discuss the original Article 2? Okay, seeing no further discussion, we will move to take up vote on Article 2. All those in favor, say aye and raise your hand.
Aye.
Thank you. All those opposed, say nay and raise your hand, please. Okay, Article 2 carries. Article 3, to see what sum the RSU will be authorized to expend for special education, the school board recommends $3,530,789 due. Can I get a motion and a second, please?
I move to adopt Article 3 as recommended.
Second.
This article includes negotiated salary and benefits for special education administration and instructional staff, special education legal costs, and tuition costs for out-of-district placements. Special education provides services as required by law.
Article 3 is moved and seconded and is on the floor for discussion. Any discussion on Article 3? Okay, seeing none. All in favor of Article 3, say aye and raise your hand.
Aye.
Thank you. All opposed, say nay and raise your hand, please. Okay, Article 3 carries. Article 4, to see what sum the RSU will be authorized to expend for career and technical education, Co-op Pathways Program, and Capital Area Technical Center tuition. School board recommends $0. Motion and a second, please.
I move to adopt Article 4 as recommended.
Second.
The state of Maine has changed funding and expense for CATSI, so we no longer need to budget this tuition.
Any discussion on Article 4? Yes, please come to the microphone and introduce yourself.
My name's Bruce Burgoyne. I'm from Reed Field, and I just want to ask what the effect of this is from the state. Does this mean the state is suspending some funding, adding some funding, taking over funding? What's the explanation a little bit deeper than what we see here? And that's just my question.
So what happens right now is the state is direct funding technical centers across the state. And we have a cooperative agreement that spells out if we would need additional money, then we would bring that forth. We haven't had to do that since the state has started direct funding.
When did the state start that, Jay?
I don't know, it's been like that. I've been here 7 years, it's been like that for 7
So
years.
have we been voting on zero
Yes.
all along?
Yeah.
Okay.
Thanks to the legislature, we have to vote on this one. Any further discussion on this article? All right, seeing none, we will move to a vote. All those in favor, raise your hand and say aye.
Aye.
Thank you. All those opposed, raise your hand and say nay. Article 4 passes. Article 5, to see what sum the RSU will be authorized to expend for other instruction, co-curricular, extracurricular, and regular education summer instruction. The school board recommends $646,272. May I have a motion and a second, please?
I move to adopt Article 5 as recommended.
Second.
This article includes activities in the middle and high school such as sports, plays, math team, speech and debate, student senate. The expense in this article are also for coaching, salaries, official services, supplies, equipment, dues, and fees. This article also includes salaries and benefits for summer regular education instructional programs.
Any discussion on Article 5? Seeing none, we'll move to a vote. All those in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. All those opposed? Okay, Article 5 carries. Article 6, to see what sum the RSU will be authorized to expend for student support, guidance, health technology, and staff support, improvement of instruction and staff training, curricular, library, and assessment. The school board recommends $2,418,943. May I have a motion and a second, please?
I move to adopt Article 6 as recommended.
Second.
This article includes negotiated salary and benefits for staff and directors in the above-mentioned departments, district-wide professional development, and other assessment testing and supplies.
Any discussion on Article 6? Seeing none, we'll move to a vote. All those in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. All those opposed? Article 6 carries. Article 7, to see what sum the RSU will be authorized to expend for system administration, school board and superintendent's office. The school board recommends $841,865.
I move to adopt Article 7 as recommended.
Second.
This article includes negotiated salary and benefits for central office staff, school board stipends, contracted services for legal and audit, legal liability, insurance, and supplies for the school board and central office.
Any discussion on Article 7? Seeing none, we will vote. All those in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. All those opposed? Article 7 carries. Article 8, to see what sum the RSU will be authorized to expend for school administration, principal's offices. School board recommends $1,524,262. A motion and a second, please.
I move to adopt Article 8 as recommended.
Second.
This article includes negotiated salary and benefits for principals, secretaries, principal professional development, accreditation costs, supplies, dues, and fees.
Any discussion on Article 8? Seeing none, we will vote. All those in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. All those opposed? Okay, I'm going to pause here because I feel like I can read the room. And I'm going to make a suggestion, and you can shoot me down. This is your meeting. But if you have an interest in expediting things, we can dispense with reading the articles. If that is bothersome to anybody, if you prefer not to do that, I won't do it. We can always go back to reading the articles. But we could also just move in second and get on with the vote and discuss. Any objections to that idea? All right, let's give it a try. Yeah, do you have a question?
I would just like members of the public to report to you what.
Absolutely. Yes, let's make that clear. If you would prefer to go back to a reading, just let me know, and we will do that. And it's not by majority. This is, if anybody, would prefer to slow things down, that's totally understandable. But let's give it a try, and we can go back to the usual if it doesn't work out. So we have Article 9. This is transportation and buses. Do we have a motion and a second?
I move to adopt Article 9 as recommended.
Second.
Okay, any discussion on Article 9? Seeing none, we will vote. All those in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. All those opposed? Article 9 carries. Are we feeling okay with that approach for now? Let me know if you want to go back. Article 10, this is facilities and maintenance. Can we have a motion and a second?
I move to adopt Article 10 as recommended.
Second.
Any discussion on Article 10? Seeing none, we will vote. All those in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. All those opposed? Article 10 carries. Article 11, debt service.
I move to adopt Article 11 as recommended.
Second.
Any discussion on Article 11? Seeing none, we will vote. All those in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. All those opposed? Article 12, all other expenditures. Motion and a second.
I move to adopt Article 12 as recommended.
Second.
Any discussion on Article 12? Seeing none, we will vote. All those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed? Article 12 carries. Okay, that takes care of the expenditure side of the budget. We're now going to move to the article that qualifies the RSU for state matching dollars, Article 13. May I have a motion and a second?
I move to adopt Article 13 as recommended.
Second.
Any discussion on Article 13? Seeing none, we will vote. All those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed? Thank you. Article 14, debt service. Motion and a second, please.
I move to adopt Article 14 as recommended.
Second.
Article 14 is on the floor for discussion. Any discussion? Seeing none, we will vote. All those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed? Article 14 carries. Article 15, food service.
I move to adopt Article 15 as recommended.
Second.
This money helps fund the school's food service program and equipment replacement.
Any discussion on Article 15? Okay, let's vote. All those in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. All those opposed? Article 15 carries. All right, Article 16 requires a written ballot, so we're going to do this one a little differently. This is for clarification, asking you to approve the balance of local dollars to fund the proposed budget. So for this article, once we get a motion and a second on the floor, and after we finish discussion, I will ask you to go to your town's ballot clerk, pick up a ballot, and ladies, can you, and drop it in the, okay, you have the ballots, fill them out, drop them in the appropriate bucket, and then we will give the clerk some time to count your votes and report the results to me so that I can record them. All right, so Article 16. Do we have a motion and a second?
I move to adopt Article 16 as recommended.
Second.
Moved and second. Any discussion on Article 16? Okay, in that case, please go visit your clerks. Tell them thank you for their hard work. We'll pause for a moment. No problem. face okay?
Oh, yeah, oh, very good.
Oops,
Sorry, we got a call.
Yeah, that's right. I'm just going to stand over here so I don't fall off the stage. See if we can beat the record.
Yeah.
The real boss, that's his mom.
When is your BBR this year? When is your BBR?
June 10th.
And how many questions? Are you at the 2-question mark this year?
Yes, we are.
All right, we have the results for Article 16. 40 votes in favor, 2 votes in opposition, so Article 16 carries. Article 17, this is the budget summary article. May I have a motion and a second?
I move to adopt Article 17 as recommended.
Second.
Any discussion on Article 17, the budget summary? Seeing none, we will vote. All those in favor, raise your hands.
Aye.
Thank you. All those opposed? Thank you. Article 17 carries. Okay, we are now done with the operating budget and moving on to the miscellaneous articles. So Article 18, may I have a motion and a second, please?
I move to adopt Article 18 as recommended.
Second.
Any discussion on Article 18? Seeing none, we will vote. All those in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. All those opposed? Article 18 carries. Article 19, adult education. May I have a motion and a second, please?
I move to adopt Article 19 as recommended.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Any discussion on Article 19? All right, let's vote. All those in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. All those opposed? Article 19 carries. Article 20, a motion and a second, please?
I move to adopt Article 20 as recommended.
Second.
Any discussion on Article 20? Okay, let's vote. All those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed? Article 20 carries. Article 21, Capital Reserve Fund.
I move to adopt Article 21 as recommended.
Second.
Any discussion on Article 21? Okay, seeing none, we will vote. All those in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. All those opposed? Article 21 carries. Last but not least, Article 22. the Special Education Reserve Fund. May I have a motion and a second, please?
I move to adopt Article 22 as recommended.
Second.
Any discussion on Article 22? Okay, let's vote. All those in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. All those opposed? Article 22 carries. Believe it or not, we have finished the business of this meeting. I encourage you to mark June 10th on your calendar. That is the date of the budget validation referendum. And this year, you're going to have 2 questions on the referendum. The first question asks you to adopt the budget of this meeting. The second question asks whether you want to continue the budget validation referendum process. So if you vote yes to this question, it means you get to continue that 2-step process of coming to this meeting and then ratifying your decision at the BVR. If you say no, it just means you would only have the budget meeting. And that would be the final say on the budget. So please mark your calendars, be sure to vote. And thank you so much to the school board members, to the ballot clerks, the superintendent, and of course to all of you for coming out on this gorgeous evening to spend a day in the cafeteria with us. If nobody has anything else to say, could I please have a motion to adjourn? Thank you. And a second. We need a second. All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? All right. By acclamation, the meeting is adjourned.